Speaking of, you can see the desperation oozing out of the pores of everybody left. All 8 teams that are left, right? And that includes our friends, the Kansas Jayhawks, because at this graphic that was tweeted over the weekend by Kansas, it says Lawrence and Kansas City, extremely fast-growing area with over 2.5 million people living and working in the Lawrence/KC area. Now, we're going to have to stop right there because you may be thinking, John, I cannot let you continue with this sentence after you've just read Lawrence, KC area as a real thing. Yes, I know. That is, it's pretty wild. That's a pretty wild statement. You know, I mean, we talk about the population of the Manhattan and Topeka area? I don't think we really do that. The idea here is Kansas trying to attach itself to Kansas City as much as possible and claimed suburbia status. Lawrence trying to claim that they are a suburb of Kansas City, which is hysterical because what Kansas is a suburb of Kansas City, if you want to go that way. Because the argument that I kept seeing was like, oh, well, if you take like West Olathe, you know, it's like 30 minutes to get to the westernmost point of Olathe. It's like, I mean, okay, Olathe is a suburb of Kansas City. So you're talking about being a half an hour away from the suburbs of the Kansas City metro area. That doesn't count. So it's hilarious to see 2.5 million as the population, people living and working in the Lawrence/KC area. Not even the KC/Lawrence area. Lawrence took first billing here. This population base of 2.5 million people, and Lawrence gets to take first on the marquee. That's quite the graphic there from Kansas. The rest of this, though, gets even funnier because it goes on to say top-end businesses with over 100 companies who employ 1,000 or more employees in various sectors such as technology, financial services, healthcare, engineering and architecture, manufacturing, and transportation. Yes, because we all know noted tech hub Lawrence, Kansas deserves recognition. Noted tech hub Lawrence, Kansas. I hear that Google is considering moving its headquarters, its HQ, to Lawrence, Kansas. So we need to recognize that there is plenty of technology there. And then it flashes up, new airport terminal coming in 2023. The Kansas City Airport. Because, and this is where one thing that I have heard behind the scenes, one of the sticking points, at least like Pac-12 schools would be thinking about here. And I know all of this has evolved so much and we're far away from the Pac-12 thing. And this is why I don't bring these things up. But one thing I have heard consistently is that something that hurts Kansas is not having an airport that visiting schools could charter into. So if you're talking about schools from the West Coast, they would want to charter directly into town, which you can do in Manhattan. #FlyMHK. Can't do it in Lawrence. Got to go to Kansas City. I guess probably Topeka. Maybe teams do it in Topeka, which, by the way, just as good of an argument that Lawrence would be a suburb of Topeka, actually a better argument that Lawrence is a suburb of Topeka than Kansas City, because it takes 27 minutes to get to Topeka, the actual city proper, as opposed to like 30 minutes to get to Olathe, a suburb of Kansas City. But I digress. The best part here, Mitch, I have saved the best for last, because the end of the graphic says, great place to live, tech hub, art everywhere, incredible food, and multiple winning sports teams. So like, let's first of all, the statement art everywhere might be the funniest thing I've ever seen in a conference realignment related tweet. This is, by the way, this is our conference realignment tweet of the day. It's the Kansas Jayhawks. The conference realignment tweet of the day comes from KU Athletics, because art everywhere, just at, you walk down the streets of Lawrence and like, man, is that a Van Gogh over there? Did I just see a Van Gogh? Wow. How about that? Art everywhere. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. And then if we're keeping track of a list of like everything Kansas is grifting off of here, it's like new airport terminal with KCI, Kansas City as a whole, the technology of Kansas City. And then you can throw on the end of it the Chiefs. And I guess sporting, because it says multiple winning sports teams everywhere. It sure as hell ain't that football outfit that they have going on there. So they're just grifting off of Patrick Mahomes now too. I mean, That's top-notch. Top-notch stuff, Kansas. Here's the deal. Not a terrible idea in practice to try and sell yourself as a suburb of Kansas City, right? Everybody back against the wall right now. You've got to do what you've got to do. But I would be doing that behind closed doors. I would be doing that in meetings. You know, the whole bit, the report, right? Kansas has a meeting with the Big Ten. I would save that graphic for Kevin Warren. I would not be putting it out on Twitter. I would also maybe spruce it up to make it a little more official instead of just saying art everywhere. But then I would take that to Kevin Warren and I would spare yourself putting it out in public, because not only does that just open yourself up to get made fun of, but it does reek of desperation. It does. And that is the thing that I will just reinforce to all of you out there right now. I know that these are very uncomfortable times. We don't know what's going to happen to K-State. None of the other 8 schools, other 7 in the Big 12, know what's going to happen to them. But that's the point. None of the other 7 know what's going to happen to them. You are not alone. Do not feel like your neighbors down I-70 in Lawrence, Kansas are in a markedly better position right now, because this should tell you all you need to know. If Kansas is willing to float something like that, if they're willing to float art everywhere on social media and a graphic trying to attach themselves to Kansas City, that tells you everything you need to know about how comfortable they're feeling about their position as a Power 5 school right now. Like, Kansas is feeling the heat too, okay?